Sitting on a bench with his hands in his pockets, he just kept saying, "Life is like a box of chocolates."
He's Gump.
Well,
it's
on
in his head.
With that Weird Al Yankovic reference, we're going to go from that to our sentimental, tragically hip cold open. So.
Oh.
We get a lot of shots. Everybody come to their net. We just have to get more and more pucks to their net.
We used to talk about in Vancouver getting pucks on net and
pucks on net.
Well, that's the key. We got to get the puck on net.
All right, good guy, good guy. Do I know them? What? Well, do I know them? Of course I know them. I know the tunes even. Scared, courage. I've got courage and you're scared. Fits right in.
Pretty good. As long as I'm not butt wiggling, I'll go along with that.
What were you saying about putting pucks on net?
Continue to put pucks on net and
it's just getting pucks on net.
Pucks on net and driving and making it a hard night on them.
Live on tape from Geeta's apartment, her palatial estate on the 23rd floor. This is Pucks on Net, a Vancouver hockey podcast that doesn't talk about fantasy or fancy stats, and we hope that the Tragically Hip or the estate of Gordani don't sue us for using that song without,
clearance.
We had good intentions. Good intentions means you don't get sued.
That's true.
We'll miss you, Gord.
We can talk about Gord a little bit later. But yeah, very sad week for Canadians last week.
Well, first Mr. Leahy, now this. Every time we do a podcast, somebody dies.
I know.
If I was Anne Murray, I'd run.
You'd have just knocked on the wall.
Maybe it'll be Gretz.
Whoa.
He's just hitting that Wayne Gretzky bin 94 Cabernet Sauvignon pretty hard these days.
Where are we going with this right now?
Which Canadian legend will die next?
I don't want to participate.
Enough. I don't either.
Mr. Dressup's gone.
Oh, then it's all downhill.
Fred
from
Penner's on dialysis.
He is not. He's playing at
Enough.
hipster music festivals these days.
Or Paul and I are checking out.
In between dialysis appointments.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Guys, make sure you follow us on Twitter at PucksNetCA or PucksNetCa. And if you want to support the show monetarily, lend us a couple of bucks. You can do so over on Patreon, patreon.com/PucksOnNet. And we have a new donor to thank this week, so we'll just get that right out of the way.
Do we?
Yeah. Where's the name here?
Oh, great. It's a Trump moment. You don't even know the guy's name.
Dan Paulson. He pledged $5 to hear us, to support the show and hear us do nonsense like 5 minutes are paying an episode. So I want to thank Dan Paulson. And I have no idea who he is.
Thank you.
He might interact with us under a pseudonym on the Twitter. We don't know. He could be Derek Dorsett for all we know. But we don't know who Dan Paulson is. It could be a fake name.
Well, Derek Dorsett came back to the NHL, and someone told him he was Ilya Kovalchuk, so that's good for us.
Right.
And I'm quite excited to watch that.
I miss running into him down at the Starbucks.
Why aren't you still running into him?
Well, because I don't work at that building anymore.
Oh, I thought he goes to a better Starbucks now that he's a star.
No, he's at the JJB now.
That's me going to a better Starbucks now. He's at the same one, I imagine.
We've been bipolar on this show for the last 3 weeks about the Canucks. We've gone from honeymoon phase to cellar dwellers.
Some of us have.
Well, you have been a steady negative Nelly,
and I've been a steady Polly. Ironically, over there, negative Nelly.
Well, congratulations, guys. You did beat the second worst team in the Eastern Conference another team who's not in the playoff
I just watched. I didn't do anything.
Derek Dorsett did all the work. He did all the heavy lifting.
Hey, if we're going to get into this, we'll get the home team stuff out of the way early.
Was there someone you want to talk about?
Not really. I find the Vegas Golden Knights goaltending situation a little bit funny.
Because everybody keeps getting hurt?
You're 2 injuries away from getting a call up there, Ryan.
I think I could get some pads in the time. I'm going to use the Patreon money to buy some Bauer.
I don't know. Who's the goalie coach in Vegas? They got like an Artur Zerbe character type lying around? Bob Asenza?
Yeah, some sort of former Canuck goalie is a goalie coach.
Well, that's every goalie in the NHL, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, other than the good ones.
That's how you get work, is you play for the Canucks and then you become a goalie coach.
That's right.
Don't anyone get mad at me. I've been a fan of a lot of Canucks goaltenders in the past.
Why would they get mad at you for that?
Because I just said none of them are any good.
Are they any? Are any of them any good?
Roberto Luongo was pretty good.
Roberto Luongo, good guy.
Yeah. Kirk McLean was pretty good.
McLean, good guy.
Gary the Suitcase Smith was pretty good until he made a joke at the Canucks Christmas party about sleeping with the owner's wife, and then he got traded.
Corey Schneider's still in the league.
He's still really good.
Yeah.
I saw Corey Hirsch on the street just the other day.
And what'd you do?
Nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Snubbed him.
Is that Dave? Didn't even notice him.
I don't know. I was like, what am I going to say to Corey Hirsch? I was like,
Did you ask him about Archie Urbay?
I didn't.
He's probably
I didn't
saying
say
that on
any.
his show right now too. I saw Dave on the street.
What a dick.
I didn't. It didn't even say anything to me. No, one thing I gotta say, the continuity in the lines is a nice thing to watch at Canuck games.
Why? Because Jason Magna's still in the press box?
And is he even up with the team?
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
Don't
Where
get
is
me
he?
started.
Is Magna up now?
He got called up. Remember last week?
No, that was
got
Chaput.
called up.
Oh, sorry.
Same thing.
His name
They're
was in the title of the episode.
interchangeable.
Yeah.
They're both in the running for the Willie Desjardins Memorial Trophy. Now going to Korea. No, I just like to see that they win a game against Buffalo and they decide to just ride the lightning and just keep Jake and his two dads together, which is nice.
Did you guys watch the game against the Red Wings?
I caught a bit of it. Yeah.
Did you see when Virtanen scored?
Yep.
Yeah, how relieved he was.
How he relieved it. He gave out a thank fuck, mouthed it, and then Daniel and Hendrick, instead of giving him a hockey hug, they both put their gloves on his shoulder and they just smiled at him like, we're so proud of you.
And then Jake revealed the shade that Henrik threw at him in the scrum after the goal, which is, I guess we know it takes you 10 shots.
Or something, it's like, does it always take you 12 shots to score a goal?
To score a goal,
That's fantastic.
Because he had 10 shots. He had 10 shots, and he hit the infamous body checker Nicholas Cronwall the next Tuesday.
That is great because he's always had that weirdly sort of dirty but more or less clean kind of.
I think it's dirty.
You've never liked it, yeah?
No, because it's deliberately blindsiding somebody, and usually the puck is long gone by the time body contact is made. I just don't. And the way he throws his ass into it, it's like if you're, a real man would hit you straight on, not throw your, turn his back to you.
So he gets away with it because he's a Swede?
No, it's got nothing to do with his nationality. No, not at all. But no,
those guys don't hit anyone.
I've just never liked that hit. I don't like it. I played a lot of wing growing up, and I've received hits like that, and I just find usually the puck's moved on. It's predatory. And I'm glad that he's getting old. He's 36 now, and
Jake?
No, Cronny, and he hit a thick boy.
Oh my God, yeah.
And he got his comeuppance.
And the feel good story of is that Jake's dad he was texting with his dad earlier, and his dad said, "Watch out for Nick Cronwall with his ass hit against the boards."
Yeah.
Which dad was that texted it to?
Not Daniel, not Hendrick, but his actual father.
Oh, so he's got 3 dads.
He's got 3. Yeah, maybe he's got more. I don't know if the parents are divorced. That's none of our business.
No, there's different types of families in the world today.
3
All
dads?
kinds of different families.
Yeah.
Pretty progressive.
Like a polyamorous kind of family? No, that's Mormons? I don't know. So Jake Virtanen's got 3 dads. We're all happy about that.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know what we're talking about either. But that was the feel-good story. And now he's only playing about 8 minutes a game.
That's fine.
Okay.
Which is great. And he's playing with the Sedins.
Do they only get 8 minutes too?
About that, yeah. Well, they got some power play time, yeah.
I thought they had at least 14.
I don't know what they played against Detroit, but it's that perfect level of for him because he's not playing goon minutes, the last year's Derek Dorsett minutes.
Right.
And the Sedins aren't playing too much. But they're playing with this kid that's big, that's fast, that forechecks, that makes everybody relevant, and it's fun to watch.
And he's on a diet, which is good. Now, the same problem that the Canucks run into every season has reared its ugly head again, and that's defensive injuries. What is it with this defense? Is there just no milk on the defensive side of the dressing room, so they're brittle?
They're drinking plenty of milk.
There's no calcium on that side of the roster? I honestly don't understand.
It's every year.
Yeah, it's every
A lot of teams.
You can swear. I'll edit
It's
it.
every fucking season.
Yeah.
A lot of teams get problems. I mean, defensemen get
nobody lost
more minutes.
Nobody's lost more. I checked on this. Nobody's lost more man games in the last 3 years due to injury on the defensive side than the Canucks.
It's interesting.
I think it's because it's such a health conscious city and milk isn't as popular as it used to be.
We just don't do dairy.
And
okay,
almond and soy milk doesn't do the same.
They have to keep the cows pregnant 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to produce all that milk. That's not okay.
They pay the extra 50 cents for the almond milk.
Almond milk is gross. I recently had switched to almond milk, and my cereal just tasted oddly weird.
You're drinking the wrong type of almond milk. I switched a long time ago. It's amazing.
Well, you got to get the vanilla flavored stuff.
I don't like a lot of them, but there's one I really like, and I can never remember what it's called.
Is it flavored or not flavored?
I get almond milk because it's usually just for cereal and coffee.
Does it taste like almonds?
I think it. Do you get the?
Tastes kind of like a vanilla-y milk.
Yeah.
That's gross. I just want it to taste like milk.
We'll get the regular one then.
I'm gonna just get milk because almond milk is
cashew
stupid.
milk.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
How are they milking these nuts? Anyway,
I think they just blend it all together.
Small letters.
That's very.
What do they
tiny.
use? Like water or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The juice.
I'm
gonna keep them good Canadian dairy farmers in business for a little bit longer.
Oh boy, Dave.
Big Dairy got to Dave.
They paid him off.
This is brought to you by Italy and Dairy for all your milking needs.
Cottage cheese. That's the only way to go.
Come for the soft serve, stay for the milk and our attractive dairy daughters.
The biggest. We're just as confused with how they make almond milk as we are with Derek Dorsett's point production. Do we have any?
He's like all-star quality now.
Is this a Jeff Cowan aberration, or is he going to hit at least 20 goals this year?
He's got 6.
20? No, he's got 5.
Oh.
6 points.
He's going in the wrong direction already.
Oh, jeez.
I think he could hit 20 goals. I've been watching him. They're not fluky goals. He's just going to the net hard.
Yeah.
And he's healthy for the first time in a couple of years.
Well, he's got that new robot neck or whatever they did, and he's
going to the net without fear. He is still, I noticed, one of the few players left in the league who's not rocking a visor.
There's only a few of them. Well, there's a handful of them.
There's not many left.
Okay.
Smart guys, big smart guys like Luch, he doesn't have one.
Goody doesn't wear one.
Well, which is ironic because he's just so
beautiful.
Yeah,
they did a really good interview with him recently about why he doesn't wear a visor, and he's like, because I'm stupid, I should have one, but that was his answer. And it's like, okay, that's fine, but like,
isn't that the answer for any? Do you want to protect your eyes, or do you not want to? I
don't want to.
I'll probably be fine.
I'm like, I don't buy that whole I can't see out of it. I've worn one since I was 15 years old, and I don't notice it.
Remember Trevor Linden? He got a puck in the eye,
and he wore one for a little bit,
and then he was like, I think he's like, oh God, I just can't play properly. It's the visor. And then little we know it's probably just his age and his deteriorating skill. But he blamed it on the visor.
Well, Pavel Bure would have scored 120 goals a season if he was barefaced. So Calgary gets no new arena because the lefty mayor stays in power, and now Jaromir Jagr is likely done for the rest of his career, even if it's a minor injury. He's 45. Like,
what happened?
Some sort of tissue problem. He's only going to miss about a week, but it's
Dave, don't write him off. It's only a week.
But he's old.
He's rotting. The tissue's just rotting off his bones because he's so old.
Didn't they have him on the top line one of the last couple games?
That's why there was so much work and effort.
He couldn't keep up with Johnny Goodgoods.
You look like you were about to concernedly say something about Jaromir Jagr's medical condition.
I'm like, let's talk about this next Monday.
But yeah, he might, like, all things considered, and without any kidding around, it was 5 games and he didn't light the lamp once, and
he's looked really slow.
Well, how long did it take him to score last year?
Not this long. He almost had 50 points in what they call the down year, but like no training camp.
Yeah, he's playing his way into shape like Matt Sedin.
And it's just like maybe he should have gone to Klando. Maybe that was the right call. But like also putting him with 2 fast guys, and there was a lot of talk about that's going to work. It doesn't work because he literally can't get to the spots in time. He needs to play with what I said, half court players.
Yeah.
Right.
Half court ball.
And yeah,
he's on the wrong team.
He's a power play specialist.
He should be an Anaheim Duck, playing that half wall with Corey Perry and Ryan Getzlafs.
Are they playing? Are they hurt? Like that's a team. I know they're playing, and I know they're not hurt, but it's like that is a team that you don't fallen off the map.
Who, the Ducks?
The Ducks.
We're jumping all over.
Are they silently good?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I'd have to check my phone. Polly.
Well, that's because the only thing you hear from that area of the world is Vegas, Vegas, Vegas.
Well, they're a superstar team, and if you follow them on Twitter, they are the funniest bunch of guys ever.
Yeah, real funny. I did like the point that you made about them, though, that we still don't know what and who they are because they got all these home games. They're about to go on a road trip and play some real teams.
I put this in the rundown, but I have watched the same Vegas Golden Knights home game about 4 times.
Okay.
And the road team comes in lethargic, sluggish, a little sloppy.
Yeah.
And somehow Vegas puts up 4 goals because they're all sweating out.
They got that spearmint rhino flu.
Yeah.
No, and it's true because I was watching like Scotty Upshall snaps or something like that. I'm like, everybody goes out because you're in Vegas.
Wait a minute, you follow
the Blues, so you have
Instagram stories, whatever, one of those things.
They went out?
Yeah, what did you see?
They were at some show. I wish I could tell you off the top of my head now.
Like a concert?
No, like one of those shows.
I've never been. I don't know these things.
Yeah. Like a Vegas show.
Okay.
Sorry, I can't remember.
They're just living it
that
up.
That kind of thing, yeah.
As opposed to a team dinner and maybe a beer or 2, and then you're back at the room. They're having a bit too much fun and a late night.
It's Vegas.
Yeah.
How long can they keep that up, though, with their, well, now it's like their 4th and 5th string goalies because they traded Pickard.
Yeah.
They went to oh man, did they ever go out?
Everybody danced now.
They went to a show called Absinthe, which
there
is
you go.
It's a sexy, super talented and funny show. It's described as Cirque du Soleil on vodka Red Bull with less clothes.
Thank you.
And the Blues all went there the night before?
And in the photo, I've got Scotty Upshall, Alex Steen, Paul Stastny, and the guy on the left I don't recognize. But yeah, a couple of good players. Way to go, boys. No wonder they ran out of gas.
And so, like,
they almost won that game.
They did.
To be fair.
Because I was watching, that was Saturday night's game, so Friday night in Vegas. And I saw that tweet, because again, the Vegas Golden Knights and their 18-year-old running their Twitter account was, what did they say? Like, I think it's something like, is anybody gonna believe that we're actually a good team now? Because they went up 4-1 on St. Louis. Yeah. And then just like the previous game against Buffalo, they're up 4-1. They blow the lead. The road team ties it up midway through the third when they've sweated out all the booze and all the extracurriculars.
Yeah.
And then somehow Vegas pulls it away in overtime.
Was it up to 4? I thought that was like a 3-2 overtime game, wasn't it?
Which one?
The Blues game?
The Blues one was like a 5-4 final.
Okay.
But I'm really excited to see the Vegas Golden Knights go on the road and play a Toronto or a Chicago or a anybody.
Yeah.
A Tampa Bay. But until then, you're going to see these hungover teams that are still feeling the absinthe from the night before.
And that's the thing, because these teams are going into Vegas right now for the first time.
Exactly.
In the season, yeah.
And I think that maybe they're still underestimating this team because, you know, all their goalies keep getting hurt.
Right.
And nobody's really on there. And outside of James Neal and a couple of guys on the skill, so they can live it up the night before.
Yeah.
It was a 3-2 game. I'm sorry. I don't want to be I'm just saying.
But they got something going there. And when you have a coach that's good and you have everybody on the same message and you're all trying to prove people wrong with a chip on your shoulder, that's what works well in Las Vegas.
Yeah. From what I've been able to gather from the internet, it's just a naked circus.
Oh.
Thanks for going down that hole.
So the St. Louis Blues went to naked circus and lost a game they probably should have won. They're leaving too, but like I really didn't think this would happen. I'm actually quite disappointed because
they're putting points. They're leaving points behind.
They're leaving points at the fucking bar.
What did you think? Everyone would just stay locked up in their rooms in the Flamingo?
Kind of. Ew, the Flamingo.
You'd think that they would be.
There's still the chalk outline from the murder victim in my room.
I mean, you can't give them the junior hockey treatment where you tape the door shut with tape to see who leaves. Or
we found a solution back to that in the early 2000s.
Buy a roll of tape.
Buy a roll of tape and find a nice concierge lady who'll play ball.
Just a couple of younger guys willing to flirt with an old lady.
This was a toonie toss operation. I'll leave it at that.
That's greasy.
It was an Alberta trip. Anyway.
So I'll be curious to see what happens with Vegas. But yeah, you'd think there would be some sort of... You want to toonie tosses, Paul?
I'm so lost in this episode. I don't know what happened. The things you guys have talked about are...
It happens at a strip club.
Okay.
And in Alberta, you can throw loonies and toonies at the entertainment.
That sounds mean.
Yeah, but you knock stuff off.
And they also let you into the strip bar when you're 18.
So it's a pretty wild affair.
So that's the WHL flu, was the Alberta road trip. Or the BCHL or the AJHL, whatever garbage league you happen to be playing in to get out of going to grade 12.
That weird Kootenay league?
That weird WHA2
KIJHL?
that Bobby Hall was running that ran out of money halfway through the season.
Hey, you were going to play for that league.
Yeah, a lot of people were going to play for that league, and all the teams got shut down. A lot of kids, is like a pay-for-play junior A in quotations league, and a lot of people lost a lot of money.
It'll work.
People's parents were putting up their Ford Windstars as collateral. I digress.
Back to Derek Dorsett for a second. Mm-hmm. There is one positive to this if he keeps this up, and that's a pretty. Does it become a trade bait, a deadline kind of acquisition to a contending team?
That's a good point.
You can't trade a 50-goal player if he keeps up this pace.
All-star.
Unless it's Matt Duchesne coming back the other way from the Colorado Avalanche.
Colorado Avalanche concerns.
These rumors need to stop about Matt Duchesne coming to Vancouver. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, but Ryan's the one spreading them.
I know.
It wasn't me. It was Nick Kyprios. I swear to God.
It ain't happening. There's no way this is going to... They're not going to put Ulevy in that package, and that's what the asking price is.
I was saying they should throw in the rights to Nikita Triampkin because, he loves...
Dope City, baby.
Dope City to Mile High City, because in all the places you go in America, Denver would be the one that would get similar comments.
Rocky Mountain High.
What else does Scotty Upshall do on his Instagram stories, Geeta?
He's just travels around.
He shows a lot of shots.
He has a lot of friends.
I follow him too. It's a lot of shots of him on the plane with the team.
Yeah.
Who are you saying that lived a very boring life?
Tyler Seguin. I was like, he does exactly what we do, and
nah, he's on that
snaps photos of his TV.
He's on that casual encounters on Craigslist.
Tyler Seguin.
No, literally, like Friday the 13th. He's like, what should I watch? Friday the 13th. I'm like, you're hilarious, and also dumb.
Yeah, but you wouldn't kick him out of here for eating crackers in bed, would you?
Geeta, you want to watch Friday the 13th with me?
You know I can't talk in front of Tyler Seguin.
Oh God, he's in town next week.
You got to make sure we go see him.
Yeah, I got to try and get tickets. We have to do a weekend podcast.
She'd play his abs like a washboard.
She wouldn't know what to say. Go back to the old episode, listen to Geeta freeze up in front of the Dallas Stars, and I had to do all the heavy lifting, and I wasn't dressed for the occasion.
And all you got out of it was a handy from Cody Eakin.
No, what was
We stalked them all night.
I forgot about the bathroom with Sagan.
So how injured are these Vegas goalies? I know Subban's out a month, but what's the deal with Marc-Andre Fleury?
I'm not sure. I think it's a few weeks, but we
got two Swedish goalies out in Vancouver who look pretty good in whatever colors Vegas wears.
Also, everyone was getting excited because Demko got called up for cap reasons today.
I'm everybody. I was excited.
Can you explain these cap reasons to me, Paul?
Not really. I was reading the rules. Like, I kind of get it when they're waiting to put some players on long-term injured reserve, and the closer you are to the cap affects how much you get back from having players on long-term injured reserve.
Okay.
I should have read up more on it, but
you didn't.
I read it, but I skimmed it.
But you didn't read it.
I've been very busy being semi-employed and spending my time.
I'm semi-impressed.
I'm
eating noodles,
congratulating you
for our podcasts, and
so I went. Ryan Beach tweeted about it, and he said. And he likes to follow the cap and the CBA and all that stuff. And even he's like, this is very, really, really confusing. Mm-hmm. And it helps maximum curable cap space limit and explain. And it has to do with long-term injured reserve.
Yeah, because I don't understand what
How
you
is
mean
that any different than what I just said?
No, I don't understand what you mean by getting something back. Or
I think if you just bring up the kid, it somehow affects
the closer you are to the cap ceiling,
right?
Can impact how much you get back. It's like a tax return.
Back from where?
When you put a player on long-term injured reserve, you can spend that money.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So, and where instead of where it should be down there, it's just a calculator. As exciting as this is.
No. Yeah. You should be excited. Like I said,
almond milk was way better than this portion.
You should be excited.
That was gold, baby.
Because what it means is that, because remember, Lawrence Gilman used to be the cap genius. That was the lawyer that Gillis hired to read this, explain this, and say what we could do. And then they went
that sports talk radio character.
Yes, and then they went to nobody, and then it was like, oh, you can't actually offer those types of contracts to that player. You need to read this. So the Canucks brass are, getting quirky. It's like they've got an accountant to do their tax return. They're not taking it to H&R Block. They're finding some loopholes and some money. Not Joffrey loophole, but that is something to feel good about.
Okay.
There's some scamming. It's
not scamming.
Scheming.
It's
there
just
we go.
actually knowing how the system works and
exploiting it.
And using it.
Speaking of things that are confusing, well, to some people, but not to me, the Montreal Canadiens sure are bad at hockey.
How bad are they, Dave?
They're 1-6.
They have scored 13 goals, which is
That's almost just barely double what Derek Dorsett's done by himself.
Is Carey Price playing?
He's playing every night.
The price is wrong.
Like he's pitching like a 80 save percentage or something.
Yeah, he's got Antti numbers.
He's a B student.
He'll be on waivers soon.
Who?
Carey Price.
Yeah, he'll be getting
pick him up.
That rate.
Well, if you've seen his GAA, I don't know if I want this Carey Price.
We're going all in on Montoya. Montoya.
Have you seen the cap hit on Carey Price? I just don't know if we should take him.
Fun fact: 1 year apart, drafted in the same spot, number 6 overall.
Montoya?
Yeah,
really?
He was a very high draft pick.
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
The
Rangers.
New York, they picked him when it looked like Lundqvist wasn't going to come over, and then he came over.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
He's
had a little NHL career.
If there's one thing that the Habs are having problems with, it's goal scoring. And if there's one thing that second worst GM in the NHL next to Joe Sakic, Mark Bergevin loves, it's sandpaper character guys. Sandpaper character guy, leading goal scorer on his team. Trade Derek Dorsett to Montreal for, I don't know, Brendan Gallagher maybe a first round pick too.
Are 6 goals enough to entice him?
They only got 13.
Why don't you first time, long time into Team 1040 with those trade ideas there, bud?
Listen, you can get those deals.
Are they?
done.
No, you can't.
They've scored fewer goals. Than
Maybe if they're feeling really vulnerable.
Just give it a week. Send them on a roadie to Vegas.
They've scored fewer goals than anyone I think in the NHL right now. Haven't they also allowed the most goals?
33 through 9.
So I don't know if they're the worst, but they're near the worst. Yeah, I mean, like, there's nothing.
Carey Price's personal
their
numbers.
Worst start since 1941 or something random like
that. Carey Price has got a 3.95 GAA and an 8.81 save percentage.
Those are Tom Barrasso numbers.
Well, goals against doesn't matter, but that's save percentage.
Old Montreal is going to burn to the ground if they don't get this in order.
Well, here's a question. Is it Bill the bulldozer who gets fired, or is it Mark Funny Suit Bergevin who gets fired? Or is it both? And if it's both, who do they bring in to replace him?
How long has Bergevin been there?
Forever.
He's been there a handful of years. Like, he was...
Yeah.
He's got to go this time.
Because I feel like they cycle through coaches. Like, it'll always be like, there's 3 of them. And they'll pick up whoever's available.
Didn't Michel Therrien, didn't he have a... Didn't he was the coach there, and he got fired, and he came back.
Yeah.
Claude Julien, he was the coach there, he got fired, he came back.
Hey, AV's having a tough time in New York.
I was going to say...
And if they,
like
it's Groundhog Day there.
Well, yeah.
I mean, and it's just, and I'm starting to notice like Claude Julien's Habs kind of look a lot like Claude Julien's Boston Bruins from 7 years ago.
This is very true.
And they're building this slow sandpaper team that isn't the best. They can't score a lot of goals, but by golly, they can rub out the Sedins in the corner and win 1-0. And it's
Montreal's not playing the Canucks in the playoffs.
That's too
not
bad.
with that attitude.
The final we all would have loved to have seen, but no one else would. Now it just, you know what though? Like it's an amazing collection of players in Montreal that they're somehow small and slow.
Yeah.
Like how is that even possible?
And we always and we talked about this before, but we always complain that there's too much preseason. And Shea Weber, like when they were getting the shit kicked out of him in preseason, he's like, "We're just not ready. We just need more games under our belt to, I'm like, for what? Like you're all like, there's a lot of good players.
This is like somebody who doesn't speak French studying really hard for that French exam. You're DOA, son.
Yeah, it's just like this team is not going to do it no matter where you try and put people.
We just need a couple more cram sessions and we'll be ready for the exam. You're done.
Did I ever tell you how I passed French 12?
Ow.
You have to do provincials.
He learned how to say cunnilingus to his 60-year-old French teacher.
Ew, Dave.
My French teacher, Madame Rajabali, was the prettiest teacher in the school. We were all
I told you, I wasn't kidding.
and she was younger. I was going into French 12 with like 48%, and I'm like,
whoa.
they
They let you write the provincial?
do you not get to write it if you're failing?
No, I don't know.
Oh, okay,
I'm pretty sure you do.
It was like, I remember having the talk with her, and it's like, you need like at least 66 something percent to pass.
You unbutton your top collar, like, what do I have to do to get into this 60?
So the hardest thing that I had was translating from French to English. I always confused the shit out of me.
Oh.
And then it's like, so it was like 40% of the final or the provincial was translate this essay from French into English.
Okay.
And everybody's is different because it's provincial. So I open up mine, and my essay was history of the Rolling Stones.
Okay.
And I looked at this, I'm like, I know all this. And like, I know when he died in this album.
Yeah.
So I transcribed it perfectly just because I knew the actual history of the Rolling Stones.
Right.
And I got my 67% on my provincial and passed French 12.
Okay.
So I've got my certificate.
And now Ryan can run for prime minister.
You mean your diploma? Like you graduated high school?
No, but you get the French thing too if you take French through high school.
I did. I didn't get a certificate.
Well,
and this was French 12?
Yeah.
Which you don't actually need to graduate.
Yeah, I actually got the certificate in French 11. So
it's Abbotsford French 12, so it's just saying cats up.
Okay.
Anywho, I barely passed French 12.
Congratulations.
So, and like the Montreal Canadiens are barely going to pass being for an NHL team. They got that new fancy AHL team in Laval, the Rocket.
Ooh.
No, they
Yeah, they
not
do.
Fredericton anymore?
No, the Laval Rocket.
Really?
And they just called up a couple of kids. They called up McCarron and Sherbak to try to stem the tide.
Oh, really? That'll be interesting to see.
They did, yeah. Well, you got to do something. But like the biggest concern for me in this whole thing is their bread and butter, and that's Carey Price, because like they've had trouble scoring before, they've had trouble defending before, but he's never had a problem stopping pucks.
Right.
Yeah, he's never had a problem. And then they're like, okay, well, if we're not going to score all the goals, we'll build one hell of a defense, and they did. They got Shea Weber, they got Carl Alsner for big bucks. The
couple of bucks.
Has Shea Weber been good in Montreal?
He's been okay.
He's been
good.
He's no PK.
No, he's been good. Like he had a good year last year. Shea Weber,
different types of players.
Yeah, it is. It's apples and oranges.
Right.
It's big, tall tree trunk.
Can I make the joke?
Western boys and fancy Toronto
Sure.
pants man.
Well, it's like a rover defenseman.
Make the joke. I want to hear it.
It's a black and white situation.
Sorry that I asked.
No,
that's almost as bad as my cunnilingus joke. This is a DOA podcast.
This is the Montreal Canadiens.
Every time I say that word, Geeta dies just a little bit inside.
Stop it, you guys!
It's a terrible word.
That's the Craig. That's the Craig Cunningham. Booster club. The Cunningham.
Stop saying it.
I'm sorry, Geeta. I don't know what these two are.
I
don't even want to be a part of this podcast anymore.
Speaking of bad goaltending, Antti Niemi. Now, how long does Pittsburgh put up with this?
He's on waivers today.
Yeah. Oh, great! So Tristan Jarry will get the call up.
Here's the thing:
they got a good one down in Scranton.
Yeah, Tristan Jarry is a good goalie,
Yeah.
and he had, I think he played one game in the playoffs last year. But when I was editing,
everybody got to play one game for the Penguins in the playoffs last 2 years.
Not Frank Corrado.
Poor Sal.
But
he gets his name on the cup, right? No, sorry, Sal.
Hey, you know who? Tom Sestito got a Stanley Cup ring with his name and diamonds on
Well,
it.
and so will Corrado. He'll get one too.
If Brooks Light can get back into the league, so can Frankie.
He's not back in the league.
Brooks Light isn't back in the league?
I don't think so.
I thought he was signed by LA.
Oh.
He's still practicing with the Kings. He's hanging around.
Like Roman Polak.
Hey, it worked for him. The Leafs just gave him $1 million.
Oh my God, you're right. Geeta's right. He's with the Kings.
Oh, good for Brooks Lake.
Good for I'm
gonna like that. No, so Antti Niemi is on waivers. They were not pro Niemi. Now, what did old man Jim Rutherford see in Antti Niemi? Because everybody in this room thought that was insane.
I think he's just like this is a guy.
We need a body.
This is something that he's won a cup. He's not the worst. Like
Yeah, but he is the worst.
But he's pretty bad.
He's playing worse than Carey Price. That's saying a lot.
There were other people that were available. There were other goalies he could have gone out and signed.
I don't know
and he didn't.
He's cheap. He did something once. Why not? I mean,
why? He's paying 1950s prices?
I'm sure he probably is. He's making $31,000 a year, and he's got a ham.
I'm not telling Jim Rutherford how to do his job since he wins the Stanley Cup every year now.
Why are you looking at me, Dave?
I don't know. Why am I looking at you, Paulie? Maybe somebody could ring up Jim Rutherford. He could explain to us why he did sign Antti Niemi.
I think that's a terrible idea.
Well, you're no fun.
Do you think you could figure it out if we called him right away?
I think you.
No, I'm not.
I'm
not giving you his number. His new number.
It's a Pittsburgh number now. But when I was doing,
you're supposed to send him a carrier pigeon courier.
No, he's got the one phone number left in the United States that's operated by a switchboard.
And it's a party line.
Yeah, some lady plugs in a cable and then you can talk to Jim.
Mr. Rutherford, you have a phone call.
When I was doing the notes for his stats for Antti Niemi's, and like he had a 7.50 goals against and a 7.85 save percentage, I kept typing them in wrong because I'm like, surely one of those couldn't mean the other. Like that's hilariously bad.
Yeah, I do feel kind of bad for him. Like honestly, I do. Like that's tough.
I don't.
That's tough.
You're playing for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
That's tough.
Now, is this a cause for like I wrote this down? Is this a cause for concern because
we're still only 2 weeks into the season?
Oh no, not at all. Because they have two goalies in Scranton to choose from that are both good.
Yeah, but when Matt Murray was struggling, they'd call up Flower.
Struggling. Well, Matt Murray was a nobody playing in Scranton, and he played 9 regular season games and won the Stanley Cup. Yeah. So,
but I mean, when he did it last year. You have that fallback. You have the insurance policy. You don't have just red light Rastico or something. You get a legitimate 1A.
You could clear the track for Eddie Lack. Make a deal with Calgary.
They're not letting him go.
They're not letting Lack play. Has he even played this year? I think Mike Smith played every game.
Yeah, he's played every game, and there was talk that maybe Lack would play this week, but I don't think they trust him.
Oh,
would you?
He's a nice guy.
There we go. And that's as telling as anything. You ask, is Eddie Lack a good goalie? And Geeta answers, he's a nice guy. That tells you all you need to know.
Come on. He's nice. Give him a break.
Nah. Back-to-back night.
Yeah, play him on the back-to-back.
No, it's a West Coast, East Coast back-to-back. We're in L.A. and then New York. We got to play the backup goalie one of those games. Mike Smith will get him some rest.
Mike Smith's hot. He's all taped up, all iced up. Please don't put me in. We got to run with it.
We only Gully hasn't even learned the other guy's name. Lake? Eddie Lake? Teddy Lake?
He coached him in Vancouver.
Freddie Lake?
He pretends he doesn't know him.
I've never seen this guy before in my life.
Hey, you know who else is in Calgary? Matt Barkowski.
The only thing that was good about Matt Barkowski was his mom.
His mom, after a couple of cocktails and her...
when he scored a goal.
Oh, jeez.
That's my son!
I just love that for about a week they were like, well, we're light on content on the radio. Let's just call up Matt Barkowski's mom and see what she's got to say.
Well, she picked up the phone, unlike Jake's mom.
Oh. But his dad picked up the phone, just told him. Watch out for Nick Cronwall.
At least he's not as bad. I hope Jake Virtanen's dad, if you're out there listening, I know you are, because we said your son's name 3 times and you appear like Beetlejuice. Just don't be like Brett Laurie's dad. Now, if you want to go on a bit of a tangent, the worst athlete's parent I ever met in my entire life and career of working in professional sports was Brett Laurie's dad, who used to hang around like a fly on the wall at the Vancouver Canadiens games for reasons. I don't know why. And would always come up to the press box area where me and Dandy Don Andrews are working.
He was there for the popcorn?
And now occupied by Black Ace Simon Baldwin. So anyway, he'd come upstairs and like without giving me his first name or anything, because he was just kind of in the way. Like I came upstairs to do my job.
Hey, I'm Brett Laurie's dad.
And I'm like, hey, like, can I help you? He goes, oh, I'm Brett Laurie's dad. And I went, no joke, in front of everybody, I went, that's supposed to mean something to me? You're in my way.
He didn't play for the Canadiens.
I was like, no, he didn't. And I'm like, he was like, well, like my kid plays for the Jays. I'm like, great, good for you. Don't lean on that. He's like leaning on my server.
He's I've heard a lot of things about Brett Lowry.
So I'm like, I was texting Don, like, I'm like, was he with you? He's like, no, no.
He comes with the building.
No, it turned out he's like his other kid is friends with our DJ Synchro.
Okay.
But even DJ Synchro didn't want him up there. He's like, I'm sorry. He's like, I'm sorry about that, McPhail.
So Jake Virtanen, we're hoping that his dad is a good hockey dad.
Oh,
or like Bo's hockey dad, who was sitting directly behind the glass in Detroit, like just staring intently,
drinking a Tim Hortons coffee like every other hockey dad. No, but Brett Laurie's dad would also be like just like out of nowhere, it'd be like the third inning of a Canadiens game. No one said anything non-work related in an hour, and he goes, well, Brett hit like 290 on that road trip last week through Chicago and that interleague in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Like, oh, yeah. And he had like a spitter going the whole time, too. Which is just, anyway.
Ugh.
I digress. Mr. Virtanen, the advice that you gave your son on handle Nicholas Cronwall, excellent.
That's good stuff.
But quit while you're ahead. You start who they playing next? Who the Canucks have next?
They're playing Minnesota today.
You better watch out from getting bored to death there, Jakey.
Well, I guess it releases tomorrow, so yes, they're playing them today.
They're playing them Tuesday.
You gotta keep an eye out for that Eric Stahl. I heard he's good.
Besser going home.
Still good?
Yeah, he was good last year. He bounced back.
He's like 34-ish.
Is there a team?
So are we.
We're still good.
We're not signed for big bucks in Minnesota.
I had a big game last night for those Black Vipers.
Are you re-signing the veterans for next season on the podcast? Have we talked about this?
Contract holdout.
We're real slow now.
Geeta was just saying you guys, 34 is old.
You guys do know that we will just start a spin-off podcast.
The Vegas Golden Knights of podcast.
That's right.
Is there a team in the NHL right now that
just going to call it Joey?
Pucks on night. What?
Is there a team like?
Oh, I get it.
Like if you're a fan of another team and the Canucks are in total obscurity. Yeah. And it's like they come to town, and you're like, "Oh, the Sedin. Who are all these young kids? Like, oh, the Sedins are still there. Like, is there a team in the NHL right now that you're like, holy shit, they're still there? Like, then they're very like irrelevant, like a Carolina Hurricanes kind of vibe.
Like they're still in the league,
or they're like
Carolina still has a team.
Yeah,
Ron
kind of.
Francis is still here.
Yeah.
Because I'm just thinking, like, if you're not following, like, the Canucks have been pretty irrelevant for a handful of years, and if you go to Columbus or something, they're like, who the hell are these guys?
Who the fuck are these guys?
Yeah, like, is there another team in the league with that kind of vibe?
Vancouver.
Buffalo. You gotta warn us about these questions.
I'm just thinking.
I need to like look
the
at
Buffalo. The Buffalo
Yeah.
Sabres. I still half expect to see Dominic Hasek and
but you don't see them.
And Derek
there.
Plant.
Or at least Scott Gomez.
Derek Roy.
Hi, kids. I'm Scott Gomez. And I would have said until this year the New Jersey Devils, but they're back in a big way.
Oh, God. I didn't even look at what the New Jersey Devils are doing this week, but
they got shut out by the Sharks.
See, the San Jose Sharks, they look like they're still from the late 90s.
Actually, yeah, like Joe Thornton's still there.
Yeah.
They got a bunch of young guys.
They have
next generations there.
They've converted Joe Pavelski, who I didn't even know was on that team.
Hansen got scratched.
Really?
The Canucks, that deal's looking better and better for the Canucks. Well, it's only been a couple of weeks. So.
You know what's
Goldolbin doesn't even play on the team, so I don't know how you figure that.
Frank's tearing things up in the AHL, and Hansen's sitting down.
A perfect example of the question you just asked would be the Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah, it's pretty comparable.
Yeah. What are the Ducks?
The Ducks are not like the Canucks.
No, not that. But it's like, oh, they're still there. Like you literally asked that earlier in this podcast.
Getzlaf and Perry are still there. They're still not really doing much. Like there was a time 5 years ago where, oh my God, Corey Perry's out there, look out, and now it's just kind of it's Corey Perry.
They did okay in the playoffs.
Is he hurt? You don't know. They're still in the league. Like what's going on?
Yeah,
they're 3-3-1. They're very ho hum 500.
Sounds like the Canucks of the South.
Holy shit! Here's something we haven't talked about. The Arizona Coyotes are 0-7-1.
Oh, I love that story.
Did you guys know? I didn't know that. There's a team. The
a
Coyotes
team
are still in the league. Barely. They're about to get relegated.
Where are they moving to now?
Tucson, Arizona.
The hockey hotbed.
Gary will let them play anywhere they want in the state of Arizona. Phoenix, Glendale, Tucson.
Tempe,
Arizona.
Scottsdale.
Any of the Dales.
Is that where Rhonda was living? Because I know she wasn't. She went to the meeting and she's wasn't a citizen, but she told them how to spend. That you should be spending your tax dollars this way. No, I'm gonna
North
go back
Phoenix.
to Tucson.
Flagstaff. Maybe New Mexico, possibly Albuquerque.
Now, Dave, you're a baseball enthusiast. I think you know most of the Cactus League destinations.
I do.
Sure.
So this is just be Dave for 20 minutes naming towns in Arizona.
Different Cactus League training camp stuff.
But yeah, they haven't won a game.
Where do you think I pulled Flagstaff from?
They have a golf tournament.
They have Peoria. That's where the Mariners play.
That's right.
But yeah, the Yotes are supposed to be good. They're supposed to have this puck-moving fast defense. And they have this insurgence of youth. And they
ignorant youth, Ty Domi's son.
Yeah. He's not doing that good. But
He's also the voice of the people.
Which people?
The other side.
Hi, kids. I'm Max Domi. And this message is on behalf of myself, my father, and the Conservative Party of Canada. Let me tell you something about immigrants. Nice people. God love them.
But and that's where it just goes to color bars.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not much. Like you couldn't even tell me who the goalie of the Arizona Coyotes is now.
It's Auntie Ranta. And Louis Domingue.
Yeah, good eye.
But yeah, Anthony Duclair, that didn't really work. But then they went out and got all these Rangers. They went out and got Derek Stepan.
Yep.
They went out and got Dan Girardi, who we've been told by the Rangers he's been washed up for the last 4 years.
Okay.
They made some interesting moves. So
they went out and got Brian Leach.
They got Ranta, Girardi, and Stepan.
You talk about the Habs being slow.
Wow. The New York Rangers are like to the Coyotes what the Florida Panthers are to the Canucks. Everybody on their team used to play for the Rangers. Duclair, Ranta, Girardi, Stepan. Wow.
I'm sure they got a cap hustle of some long-term injured reserve New York Ranger there.
They got they got 2 Hall of Famers on that team. They got Chris Pronger and Pavel Datsyuk.
Well,
wow.
This is the team that went there's 2 teams that went full money, fancy stat money ball teams.
Oh, poor John Shake is going to get fired from his first GM job before he turns 30.
So he's drafted all these really skilled players, and every year for like 3 years they've said this team has won the draft this year, and they've got really good players. But then you have to,
kind of like how the Canucks won the draft in 2014.
Who would they get?
Shinkarik, Castle, Subban.
Oh my God, yeah, stars.
It's just a murderer's row.
That's the whole AHL, all of our AHL All-Star Game starting lineup.
Technically,
right
Cole Castles is on the Canucks roster right now.
All right, because he's on the injured reserve.
That's right.
But haven't done a very good job. Yeah. Molding and sculpting and integrating these young
Jacob
kids.
Chychrun got hurt in the off season. That didn't help them.
Yeah. Stefan's on that team. What the hell?
They got some players.
Duke. Luke Schenn is there.
Luke Schenn.
Luke Schen's an Arizona Coyote.
The future of the Toronto Maple Leafs blue line.
That's Jeff Finger.
I bet the Leafs are somehow still paying him.
And Zach Ronaldo's there. That's interesting.
No wonder they suck. God, they're bad. They are bad.
Hey, you see Sidney Crosby getting that penalty, that misconduct?
No. He threw his mouth guard into the stands like Steph Curry.
Did he do that?
Yeah.
Did you see that, P Mac?
Steph Curry? No, I don't watch a lot of basketball these days.
They ejected him.
No, did you see Sidney Crosby?
No, I didn't see that either.
He got a bad call against the surging Tampa Bay Lightning, or as he says, a bad call. They gave him a penalty. The Penguin, the Lightning scored. Sidney Crosby, the second he leaves the box, goes right to the referee and is screaming at him.
Yeah.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah.
I'm Mr. Conn Smythe. Damn it.
And he just, he dropped a few F-bombs, and then he had to go back and sit for 10 more minutes. And I think they called it abusing an official. And
good.
And I've never seen that happen before. And I'm just curious if you guys had seen that before.
Yeah, no. I feel like I've seen or heard. Yeah, that's happened in games, but it doesn't happen often.
And certainly not to a player like that quality. Like usually they don't. But like this is not new. Like there's tons of clips all over the YouTubes of Sid Cross being salty to officials. I remember that there was that era where the Penguins were in 24/7 like every year, and there were always clips like it'd be an offside. He'd be like, "What the hell?
Yeah,
good." Like he's a whiny little bitch.
He kind of is, and
I love him.
Yeah.
We all love him.
Do you guys love Sidney Crosby? Are we on the same page?
I got nothing against Sydney.
You started talking Sidney Crosby, and I just glazed over.
He is rather boring.
Do you find him dull and boring and not very political?
Who? What?
Wow.
Sydney?
He became kind of political this year.
Not really.
No, you know what?
They sat him at the back of the
He would have
class.
been a lot more interesting if he had become political.
He refused to walk up to the front when Trump called him down, so I gave him a couple of points for that.
Man, that's funny. Like that's that's funnier than not going. Like,
when
no,
he's like,
Mr. Crosby, could you come down? No, I'm good. What?
What a shy guy he is, huh?
So humble.
They didn't give him a jersey either. That was an interesting.
No, they gave him the golf clubs with the Penguins logo on it. I thought that was great.
Well, he's gonna get way more use out of those.
That is. I mean, he tweets a photo of that. I mean, everybody's gonna see that.
Doesn't Trump you'd think he'd have a gut check moment, like where only the whitest sport in America will come see him, and even then it's like very low key, and they don't.
Well, they just put all right, who here is willing? I think Mike Sullivan was right front and center as opposed to usually.
Well, he's an American. He's a Boston American, so I'm sure he's racist.
Allegedly.
We haven't looked at his Twitter mentions after a Bruins playoff elimination.
That's
funny. That's a thinker right there.
No, it wasn't a thinker at all.
No, that was fairly obvious.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Shit.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I think the last thing
that was a good series.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
Edmonton Oilers.
Weird episode.
I know, and we've been talking for 53 minutes. It's flown right by.
I'm so tired. Yeah. I was double shifted last night in hockey, and it was a late game. And
for those listening, Dave is sprawled out on a love seat with his legs dangling over while he
comically
keeps a bit of a close eye on Monday Night Football.
I just noticed that the quarterback's last name is Kuntz, which is very funny.
That's a funny last name.
And he plays in Philadelphia, so that could go one of two ways. Because they are not nice people.
They got
just
their
batteries.
Yeah, batteries ready to throw.
Dave's insulted most of the northeastern United States this evening. So.
Right on.
Oh, well, don't worry. Our listenership, we're a West Coast. Lot in Orange County.
We're pretty international.
Lot in the Bay Area. Oh, I'm going
we're Team Tupac, not Team Biggie.
Oh, yeah.
Dave, what did I tell you about speaking for the podcast?
Biggie's way better than Tupac.
I'm all LL Cool J over here.
It's because your favorite movie's Deep Blue Sea.
Geeta's cutting the
Great Big Sea? What?
They ruined Robin Hood. Don't get me started on Great Big Sea. Remember Ridley Scott's Robin Hood with Russell Crowe and
was that the dark one?
The trailer was awesome and it looked like it was going to be dark, and then the reality of it was that it wasn't dark at all, and the merry men that followed Russell Crowe around were played by none other than the entire band Great Big Sea.
Really?
And they just sang behind him the whole movie. It was awful.
Yeah, right.
It's one of the best bait and switches in the history of Hollywood because the trailer is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Was it legitimately Great Big Sea,
Yes.
or they just reminded you?
No, it was Great Big Sea.
Wow. Singing like My Mother's Making Me Mary, Mary Mac.
Essentially, yeah. They're like, oh, Robin Hood, Russell Crowe.
Oh my God, you're right.
I told you.
Alan Doyle, yeah.
Holy moly.
Well, geez, on that maritime.
Who would make that up?
I don't know. You come on.
You're
You come
an
in telling
imaginative
tall. You got some tales every now and then.
The fish was so big.
How big was it?
It was big enough to throw that football over the mountains.
Great Big Fish.
Well, that'll wrap it up for this week's podcast, which was
a little unfocused.
I loved it. It was a good one. I always like the shows where we talk and I look down and it's like, oh shit, we're 40 minutes in. We gotta get to these talking points. We gotta talk Derek Dorsett.
Ugh, he's so boring too.
Hey, come on, he's scoring goals off people's faces. Doesn't get better than that. P Mac, you had a thing you want to talk about Anders Nilsson last week that you forgot to.
Did I?
About him in Buffalo. Remember?
No.
You don't? Canucks
It's
goalie?
okay.
Totally.
This is great radio.
Yeah. Enough.
Well, that'll wrap it up for this week's podcast. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at PucksNetCA or PucksNetCa. And we want to once again thank Dan Paulson for pledging money on Patreon.
Thanks, Dan.
And Josh, who pledged $25. His Pucks on Net Bill McCleary shirt is sent out, and Heather Smart's puck got shipped this week too. So I have no more outstanding merch shipments to make. So if you want to pledge a couple of bucks, head on over to Patreon.
Couple of bucks.
Patreon.com/pucksonnet. And if you want to really support the show, you can subscribe on iTunes, rate and review on iTunes. That's the best way to support the show and help defeat the awful Steve Jobs algorithm. We had a handful of people review and rate it in the last 2 weeks, and it really helped. And if you're listening for a while and you haven't done that yet, and you want to take a couple seconds, go into your podcast app, go to the iTunes store. Takes a second, and it helps immensely.
Don't be a dick.
That's my father's name.
I know.
And don't worry, I made him review it too.
He ain't warning you about Nicholas Kronwall. Just letting you take those hits.
And he's sitting there laughing at it.
Look at Ryan just getting wallpaper. Just getting bundled out there. Frickin' Dave Babich and the original Reinhardt just running him down like a dog.
I showed that Babbage clip to your sister at that party at your house, and she was laughing hysterically.
She gave
everybody loves Ryan's family loves seeing him get hit by Dave Babbage.
They really do, and that got Paul Amanda Schaap's phone number that night.
Did you? I should check my phone. Maybe she snuck it in there while I gave her the clip.
We're gonna have to talk about this.
You didn't get both of her messages.
All right, let's go to 5 minutes for Pan.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.